It's Mom and Pop Video Shop.
Welcome to the Mom and Pop Video Shop and other things. Obviously, I'm sure this probably will be cut out of the actual podcast. But if you're tuning into the Mom and Pop Video Shop, I wanted to just do this quick little intro. This is actually a podcast of my good friend, Ron Martin. Ron, what is the actual name of the show?
The show's called Retro Sleepover, and we just started. We have one episode out right now. By the time you're seeing this, maybe we'll have a couple of more. So now's the time to get in on the ground level of a podcast, first few episodes.
That's right.
The podcast, the tag for the podcast is we do deep dives into pop culture from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond.
Yes, so it fits in perfectly with the Mom and Pop Video Shop channel. Now we're not. It's not like we're hosting the entire show. We just are doing this episode because I happen to be on it. And I was like, hey, it's a way to promote what Ron's doing. Plus, a little sneak peek about some stuff that we'll be talking about. I don't know if it's showing up or not, but a little sneak peek there. So we'll be talking. Yeah, there you go. We'll be talking about that as well as a classic, but probably mostly forgotten by many people, TV show from the very early 2000s. In fact, I think 2000, right? When it started. Yeah, and we'll be discussing that as well. But on that note, I will kick it over to Ron. So feel free to comment below and check Ron's show out, Retro Sleepover, on, I'm assuming it's going to be like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the usual.
We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts right now, but we're going to, we'll brand out.
Cool. And we'll link it.
Retrosleepover@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook.
All right. Awesome. And I will put the link in the description below.
Also, this Gilman hang up is always there. Don't worry about it, Joel. It's not there just for you.
Okay. I figured you were just trying to, steal my sunshine.
Who could that be, listeners? Yes, I have taken I've taken the reins to invite over someone else to help talk about this particular topic, because let me tell you this, the man who's coming over to join our sleepover has the second largest collection of Monsters Attack magazines in the entire world, volume 1, that is, in the entire world. You can only have a bigger collection than he has if you have all 6 of them. But the owner of 5 out of the 6 copies of Monsters Attack magazine, my good friend, Mr. Gilman, Joel Robertson. We call him Gilman because he lives in Florida.
I live in a swamp. That's basically the gist of that.
He lives in the swamp. And I saw today, at the time of this recording, there was a gigantic alligator walking in an Orlando neighborhood. So you got to watch out.
That's par for the course. That's probably somebody's pet. They were taking it for a walk. Hold on. There's 6. There's 6 of these freaking magazines.
There's 6. There's 6.
Oh,
welcome to the sleepover, Joel. Here's the biggest question everybody wants to know. So you've come to the sleepover. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk about magazines. We're gonna talk about girls. We're gonna sneak out. We're gonna order pizza.
Are we gonna smoke cigarettes when we sneak out?
We are gonna smoke cigarettes.
It is the 80s, so we have to do that. Yeah,
we're smoking cigarettes indoors. It's the 80s. We don't even have to go outside.
Yeah, Lysol. You spray the Lysol really good and hope your parents don't smell it.
And we're going to drink the vodka and replace it with water. But here's the big question everybody has to know. You're going to a sleepover. It's the late 80s. You're the same age as me.
So we're almost to the day, man. We're
almost.
Yeah.
So here's the big question. You have to bring a sleeping bag. Like, what's on your sleeping bag? For me, this give you some time to think. For me, I'm rocking the Pac-Man sleeping bag. For probably too many years, I should have probably upgraded to Mad Balls or Thundercats by now. But I'm really a Pac-Man guy.
So I would say that is this an actual sleeping bag you had, or is this just like you're in your dream world?
However you want to interpret.
Got it. So I feel like every sleeping bag I always had was like a generic color. You know what I mean? It was never cool enough to have like something on it. But I still own, and I'll use my sheets. I literally have from when I was 6 years old. I have E.T. sheets from when I was 6. I still have them.
Yeah.
And so I would have an E.T. sleeping bag. That I'm sure I would get summarily beat up for having. I would love to say it was something cool, like a horror themed one, but there really wasn't a lot of like kid oriented horror themed, that type of thing. You know what I mean? Like maybe you could have gotten.
I bet it was a Freddy Krueger one by 89.
Maybe. You think so?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Freddy was on everything.
That's true. He was. That's true.
If
Other
Freddy,
than him though.
Yeah. If Freddy can sell me bubblegum, he certainly can be on my sleeping bag.
That's fair. Good point. Good point. I would have wanted a Freddy, but then like you, I'm still sporting the ET.
Yeah, as long as I fit in the Pac-Man, like my mom's not buying me a new one.
Yep. Ditto.
So, with your expertise on Monsters Attack magazine, Mr. Gilman, let's chat about this magazine for a minute.
Okay.
First of all, how did you discover Monsters Attack magazine? I've already told my audience how I did. So I'd be curious as to how someone else my age also found out, because no one else I knew even knew about it, and that's true to this day.
Okay, so I had two friends that they're just one of them, unfortunately, actually just recently passed away. But that's the moment where you know you're getting old when your like childhood best friends start passing away. And John and Jeff, they were twin brothers, and they were the only other friends I had. They were the only other ones that had these magazines. So the only two issues I ever owned as a kid were the same two as you. I only ever had these two.
Those are the two that I have. Yeah.
Yeah. And John,
listeners, he's showing issues 1 and 2 up on.
Yeah, I probably should. Yes. Yeah. I'm assuming that we're because of the YouTube thing. Yes. I'm showing both of those. I am also going to show you this one. The only reason I ever saw this one is because John and Jeff had it. And that was 3. And I don't remember if they had 1 and 2, but I do remember this because I remember doing a sleepover, funnily enough, at their house and reading the Jason body count one. And for whatever reason, because this is about that time that I had already started watching Friday the 13th movies around, 12, 13-ish. And then, but I hadn't seen all of them. So I was like, for whatever reason, morbidly
think we would have been up
fascinated.
to 8 at this point?
Yes, by the time, because this issue came out, they have it listed as July of 90. So Manhattan has come out. It for whatever reason fascinated me. I remember to this day reading that at their house. I never saw the other 2 until I ordered them. And by the way, the only reason I have all 5 now is because of you. When you said, let's do this, I was like, you know what? Hell with it. I'm going to see if I can find all of them. I have, these are not my original 2, but I've had these for a few years now.
Same.
I get these.
Same.
Yeah. The very first one, I remember seeing it on the stand, and I was a total, Gen X monster kid. I was always a little, that's one of the few things other than their music and their movies of the boomers that I was jealous about was that whole monster kid element of them. And I remember seeing it. My dad, my dad and my mom got divorced because, the 80s, of course, it was like a prerequisite. So I was with my dad at the time. I don't think I wasn't, because this is 80. No, you know what? This is September of 89. That was the first year I went to live with him for 8th grade. 8th grade, man.
First issue.
That for whatever reason, that Halloween, which I hate to just hold on. I know you're probably gonna have to cut all this out. I'm only grabbing it because it fits perfectly timeline wise. So, and if I go for too long and I start going down rabbit trails,
we should mention to our listeners on the podcast that the visual behind Joel is he's basically podcasting from an old school VHS rental place.
Yeah, video shop. Yeah, basically, yes, because Joel's a dork. I
have a retro podcast, bro. I
know you appreciate it, Ron. The thing is, though, so I remember seeing this, and this would have been my 8th grade years. Like, you had that 1 year. 7th grade was my worst. Like 7th grade, I went to this kind of sketchy school, got the living crap beat out of me on a regular basis because I was like a band nerd. I hadn't shot up at all yet, so I was like this little, kind of dumpy band nerd, played the saxophone, got the crap kicked out of me by like skaters and people that were actually cool. And so 8th grade, though, I just had this like straight up nostalgia. It's when I got more into horror movies. My dad would let me write whatever the hell I wanted, pretty much. And I remember that fall getting this, and I want to say weirdly, my memory, and this could be totally wrong, is either at a Walden Books at the Winter Haven Mall, or it was at a Walmart. Because Walmart, and I think they still do have like a magazine rack of some sort. It was one of those two places. I just don't remember exactly which one, but I do like have in my mind like the memory of like getting it, like I'm picking it up. And that would have been September of 89. It came out. So literally within the month, that would have been the Halloween, probably the last Halloween that I went trick-or-treating with one of my buddies. And I got the TV guide. That's what I'm holding up now.
Oh.
The TV guide from October of 1989.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I had to prove to myself it existed. HBO did a triple feature that Halloween of Evil Dead 2.
Okay.
Hellraiser 2.
Yeah.
And is it Spellbinder, the one with Kelly Preston? Is it Spellbinder, Spell something? It was like kind of a semi-erotic horror.
I'll take your word for it.
It's Spell something, Spellbinder, Spellcaster, something like that. It had Kelly Preston in it. I don't even remember that movie, which had Kelly Preston in it, pretty much confident naked, and I, for whatever weird reason, don't remember that. But that's the first time I saw Evil Dead 2. And the triple feature was called Ghouls Gone Wild, if memory serves, and or something to that effect.
Spellbinder's correct, by the way.
Spellbinder, there you go. And I like for you, I get weird down these weird rabbit holes where you're like, I got to find the TV guide listing where it showed and exactly. And I finally found the TV guide, and it's in there. They don't call it the thing; they just show the movies that we're playing. But Evil Dead 2, the first time I saw it. So my point is that fall when Monsters Attack dropped, first time I see Evil Dead 2, and it just changes my entire world. I watched it on a loop. Is when I first got this magazine. So the funny part is about the second issue, the Freddy one, which I'm holding up now. I remember having it, and the only other place I could have bought this one, and I'm weirdly sure if I did, I bought it. There was a place in Winter Haven called Charlie's Newsstand. And it was this little, in fact, it may have been either in the original, like, so Publix supermarkets here in Florida are like a huge Southeast, they're in most of the Southeast now, supermarket chain. The very first Publix was in Winter Haven, Florida back in the 30s. And Charlie's was either in the original building that was the Publix, or it was like right next to it.
Yeah.
And I also remember Charlie's because he had like the beaded curtain section that we always get kicked out of. But yeah, I think that might have been where I got the second issue of Monsters Attack. So that's where I got those two. And then, like I said, John and Jeff had the third one, and then 4 and 5 I never even knew about.
Yeah, I had all of them because I bought them all at the same grocery store. Like whenever they came out, I would go looking for them. I stupidly thought they would come out each month, and that wasn't the case. But
did you find it for it? Because I know you're going to go into it when I'll listen to the episode. But did you find out what the reason was for the inconsistency?
I think it was just financial. This is an offshoot of Mad Magazine. I don't know if you knew that or not. So
was it Mad or Cracked?
Mad.
Oh, okay.
Mort Todd. I believe that's Mad. I hope
okay. Because John Severin, I know, was one of the artists who was featured in this. I'm 99% sure I remember him from Cracked. It is possible he was also with Mad. I love them both. But that was what.
Oh, nope. You're right. It's Cracked.
I'm sorry. I screwed it up.
That's
right. He meant Cracked the whole time. He was testing me. That was a test.
Hey, let's redo it. Only your YouTubers will know that I got that wrong.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, I'll just edit that part out.
So it was a spinoff of Cracked Magazine. You're a fan of Cracked Magazine?
Yes, I was. I had all the monster parties. Remember those?
This is probably a response to their Monster Party. Imagine their Monster Party issues did really well. I know I bought a lot of the Monster Party issues.
You remember the little digest ones they had? They were like the size of like a Reader's Digest. They were like these little. Oh yeah, they weren't big. I have I think I have a couple of those somewhere out in here.
I also bought the little books. They had little books. Mad Magazine had little books.
Yeah, I remember Mad did. Mad had the books too.
But Cracked, I don't think did.
They had. Yeah, it was more like a. I don't think I describe it as like a digest. It wasn't like. They weren't books. They were still like in a magazine, but they were smaller. Yeah. They were about this big. And
the Reader's Digest.
Yeah, that size. And so I still have actually a lot of my OG Cracked and Mads. I can't reach them from here. But yeah, no.
The ones that you actually bought yourself.
Yeah, literally, I have ones from like my childhood still. Yeah, I still have those. And then there's a magazine I still have called, and actually this one this may not be my original one as well, but I got this one I think even before or around maybe the same time I got the Monsters Attack again. Do you remember Warped?
Yeah,
and Freddy on the cover. Yeah, I have that one too.
Yeah, so what Monsters Attack ended up being was a Mort Todd specialty, and it basically was a love letter to those old 50s and 60s horror comics with a little bit. It's kind of a mix between those comics and Famous Monsters of Filmland. They would have the deep dives into what was happening with your favorite horror movies. Plus, I had a couple of anthological stories in there that you had to buy the next issue to get the next part of the story. Plus, it would do usually an article on a pop culture relevant monster like Freddy, Jason, Godzilla was in one of them. And it's funny to me that you brought up the Jason Voorhees body count issue.
Yeah.
Because, one of the things that is the impetus for this particular episode was that stuck with me since 1980.
Isn't that weird? That stuck with me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
That was the one thing I always remembered was that I can still see it in my head.
Yes.
And I don't own that issue as of yet because I haven't purchased it. I did see it online.
Yeah.
But
don't buy it yet because somebody might have bought an extra one and be sending it to you.
Well, that's good to hear. So I can still see even before I saw it on scanned in the digital format online. I can still see the chart.
Yeah, that Jason on the where he's that image of him. Yeah, I totally remember that.
Well, I remember the chart with they had a chart with each person and like how they died and and a little note on the side. And I remember in the second movie, I think it's the second movie where Jason kills the guy in the wheelchair.
The thing in his head.
A little note in the chart said something to the extent of it shows that Jason plays fair with everyone. He doesn't give handicapped people special treatment.
Hold on, I literally here you go. I literally
that's it. That's it.
I'm holding it up for those that are listening.
That's
so,
it.
Let me see if I can see. So let's see here. You said Friday 13th 2. Let me see. What was that? Do you remember the character name?
I don't. The wheelchair guy.
Mark.
He's near the end.
Yes. Clear to face and pushed in a wheelchair downstairs. When looking for it, Jason. No, you ready for what it says?
Yeah.
You gave the politically correct version. Can I? Okay. Right.
This is 1989, people. So
okay. Jason kills cripples as well.
I knew it.
That's amazing.
I knew it was something along those lines.
Oh my God, you were close, dude. That's impressive, man.
Yeah, that stuck with me for like I don't know how I'm like 80 years old now. So
isn't that so? Yeah, isn't that so weird? Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see. I know you remember that. Hold on, here we go. I'm holding up the.
Oh yeah.
There it is. Yeah, that is, dude.
So each issue of the magazine had several what we'd call pinups, like single page, usually full color photos. That
was it. The cover? It's the cover, right? That if you took the cover off, it's on the other side of the cover. It was the whole.
I believe there's a few in each magazine. Like there's a couple in each magazine, but the cover is one of them. Yes.
Yeah.
But nobody's ripping off the cover of their magazine.
I never did that. No. Now, weirdly, I did have a window about this time.
Yeah.
And maybe who knows that's what happened to my original issue. Now that I'm saying that out loud, where I had like Fangories, and for whatever reason, I didn't. I'm much more precious about them now. I have a few from that time period, but most of the ones I've rebought over the years. But I cut up like lots of the goriest image. I had this literal in my one entire wall of my bedroom was a collage of just horror shit. My grandmother was convinced I was going to be a serial killer, to which my running joke is I did say, would I be that obvious about it? Like if I was legitimately a serial killer, would I really do this? And
I will say this, there's nothing about the room that you're sitting in now that really tells me you're not going to be.
Fair enough. When you give, we know how, the collector impulse.
Thank God for eBay. We can.
Indeed.
So did you ever pull those out and pin them up then on your wall since you had all the gory stuff? I mean, I did pull out a couple of the pinups, not all of them, but a few of them.
I could see me at that age. Now there's no way hell I would do it. I could see me at that age doing that first issue because especially because that image is so burned into my head of the kids looking at which I always loved because it's one of those where you try to look at it and see how deep it goes, right? Because it's like they're looking at the bit magazine with themselves on the cover, holding the magazine, and so it just goes on into infinity. And so I feel like I could have done that. Like I would have potentially, used Scotch tape and just stuck it to my wall.
Or thumbtacks.
I use a lot of Scotch tape. I bet even you can't see it from here. I have a Fright Night 2 poster from the video store. It's that white one, really just awesome 80s minimalist type poster. And you can see it's my original one. You can see in the back the yellow like line of like the OG Scotch tape.
The problem with that was when you pulled them off the wall, you were always taking risks that you were going to rip the poster.
Yes. Yep.
Or the pinup or whatever.
I mean, some kids do that now.
Some kids didn't care. I was similar to you in that I ripped. I had a whole wall full of magazine things I cut out and ripped out of magazines. But usually it was the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue.
Yes.
Back in the day. So
yes, which my grandmother probably would have also concluded meant you might be a serial killer.
So let me ask you this: the magazines always had like some sort of, well, except for that first one, which was kind of like,
Yep.
hey, we're doing the thing. They always had a horror icon on the cover. We had Jason,
Yep.
we had Freddy, we had Godzilla.
Yep.
If there was one more issue that they had done, this is just a sleepover gossip here. If there was one fantasy gossip, if there was one more issue they would have done, who would you have liked to have seen on the cover? What horror icon would you like to have seen on the cover?
Okay, so 5 was Frankenstein's monster.
Yep.
What was this? Do you know what the 6th one was?
Nope.
Okay, because I honestly, I did all sincerity, I didn't even know there were 6 issues of the damn thing. So now I'm gonna have to like desperately try to find that one. Okay, that's a tough because of 9. So this would have put us in right, still probably 90, maybe 91 at the rate these things were getting released, right?
Right.
Let's see, because now it would have definitely been 91 because the 5 is 90 of December of 90 rather. So presumably if there's a 6, it's somewhere in 91. I'll assume it's 91. At this point, we've had so the obvious one to go to since they've done Jason, Freddy, would be to do something like Michael. But weirdly, I don't want that. I don't because they seem so they did the Godzilla, then they did Frankie. I'm gonna go maybe like an old school either vampire or zombie. I feel like they might because there were several stories just thumbed because I thumbed through every issue before we did this and there's certain stories that make Weird Beard, for instance, there's certain stories that just totally are like locked into my brain since I was a kid.
I reread Weird Beard and it was it was a nostalgia bomb. Like I remember this now.
Yes. And I remember the part where he like headbutts the guy and like the brain matter or whatever.
Yeah.
It like freaked me out. Like, I don't know why that freaked me out, but it freaked me out. I also remember that I don't think I quite understood that in the end, spoiler alert, his beard essentially is just eating everyone and everything. It's like the beard doing it. It's like a weird, like, what's the word I'm like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a parasite, like, or a symbiotic, like it's attached to him, but it's also
symbiosis is correct.
Yeah, symbiosis type thing.
So the 6th issue is a collection.
Zombie. It's a collection of all the like maybe like best of. Okay.
So you have all the individual issues, it looks like.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So congratulations.
Well, thank you. Not nearly as expensive as I thought they'd be. I'm not gonna lie. There was
nobody remembers them. Nobody remembers
them. I was gonna say there was a line. I'm like, all right, if they're past this line, I'm just gonna have to be like, yeah, that's cool. but no, they weren't unreasonable.
I'm going zombie as well.
Yeah, let's go zombie.
Specific zombie. Like
okay.
I would love to see. I don't know how they could do this, but I would love to see Trash from Return of the Living Dead on the cover.
Okay, that would be the Linnea Quigley character, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know how they would do that with.
No, I think they would because they were willing to show. There's a level of like sex, obviously, and extreme violence in them, which is awesome, especially when you were like 12 and 13. And 14, I guess we've been 13, 14. We were like 13, 14 when these came out, right?
13, yeah.
I was
13 14.
Yep. Yeah. So it's funny. I would say Tarman. Like, I feel like they would put Tarman on the cover.
I'd be cool with Tarman.
Yeah, I think they'd put Tarman. That's my. And not that I'm knocking Trash by any stretch, but I would be. I could see them doing the Tarman, which another one of those classic designs that just always freaked me out. There's something about a zombie with intact eyeballs that I find very unsettling.
You actually don't see too many of them. Plus, his skull is exposed, right? So,
yeah.
So let me ask one more thing about the Monster Attack magazine, more about magazines in general. If you could create a magazine today, what point? So magazines are hard to do, right? Because there's so much information out there. But what aspect of horror do you think is underserved today that could be that could be better served by a magazine like Monsters Attack? For me, when I was a kid, the reason I was so drawn to Monsters Attack was, the same reason how people are drawn to this podcast. I wanted to get in on the ground floor. Like Famous Monsters of Filmland, that was from the 60s. People were already there. Fangoria have been going since the, late 70s.
79. Yeah, 79.
So people were already there. Like this was going to be my thing, our thing, Generation X, late Generation X.
Yeah.
And I thought we're going to get into the bottom floor. I'm going to have all of these. And I did, but then,
there's only like 5 of them.
So they ended up, getting lost somewhere in time. So for me, like today, if you could do a magazine, it would almost have to be, I think, a very niche, like, I know you're a van. I know you're a van.
I'm a van as well.
Hopefully not one of those creepy vans with no windows.
Yes. Yeah, of course not.
I
We
know
already
you're
established.
I know you're a fan of like low budget SOV horror.
Yep.
So I think that's
That would, yeah.
that's the underserved
Which I
horror
think, well, and then I immediately
genre.
go to the, so I don't know if you're familiar with Lunch Meat VHS, which if you aren't, you should check them out. You would love them.
Okay, I'll make a note of
And
that.
yeah, and they actually do put out a magazine about
Oh, okay.
things. Yeah, you would dig this. It's quarterly, I believe. So it's only like, I think they do it 3 or 4 times a year, give or take. I think they're only up to issue 13, I feel like was the last one I got. And it's really well put together. Really, I would say, yeah. I mean, because I mean that's the only magazine I could think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's actually a couple almost like they're literally like people are still doing them like zines. Remember zines? Like
Yeah.
that Xerox vibe. I've seen a few like that, which are pretty cool. You know what it is? I feel like too, the further we get into like all the AI BS and all that crap, I love that it could possibly make us revert to more of that stuff. The tactile, down and dirty, more punk rock, sell it out of the back of your trunk somewhere in an alley kind of crap. You know what I mean? And then like
That's the move.
Oh yeah, it is.
Underproduced. No corporate giant is benefiting from it.
No, yeah, and you if you have to, you might put it on your YouTube channel and just say, hey, you want a physical copy? Order it from me directly. I'll send it to you, or I sell them like at a con somewhere or whatever. But and if you make something cool enough, it could make, to me, the ultimate would be like what we had as kids, where you never could see the movie because it was hard to find because it wasn't just everywhere. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so you hear your friend talking about like, yeah, man, did you see that? Blah, blah. And you're like, what the hell's that? Like, I miss that. I miss that. Like you're saying, like, it's like the ground floor attitude. Like you want to be like one of the first people. And I wonder if that's like a generational thing too. Because I get that, like that feeling of like, you want to be amongst the first to find out. And I don't know, maybe it's just a fear of missing out thing too. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we didn't have social media, right? So
that's true. Yeah,
everybody's not learning everything at the same time. So
yeah,
these magazines serve that purpose. Like in that Freddy Krueger issue, there's a back scenes dive into one of the movies that are getting made. I'm assuming it was part 4, or maybe part 5.
It may have been 5 even, yeah.
But that's how you got that information back then. That or TV specials, and the TV specials, didn't come very often. So there weren't actors and production company people tweeting every day about what was happening on the set. There wasn't, Bloody Disgusting reporting, articles about what's happening on the set every day. You can't follow it on Reddit or whatever. Like we wouldn't know who's getting cast in the new Scream movie. We wouldn't know that they're bringing back all of the ghost faces, right? Back in 1989, we wouldn't know.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and because I'm wondering if this is just me being an old man. I don't know. There's a part of me that, because I remember remember when Ain't It Cool News was like a huge deal, and I would check it like daily, multiple times a day.
Ain't It Cool News.
Yeah.
That's another nostalgia bomb.
Yeah, for sure. And it's still around. I think technically it's still around. But it's like, I don't know. I guess there's because I feel like that's where it kind of really started. That whole like, because they were scooping. I know Harry Knowles scooped like was it Phantom Menace, and there was this big deal, and people got upset with him. And I don't know. I just feel like there's something I miss about, and I guess you could just now choose on your own to avoid it.
Yeah.
Of just not knowing. Like to your point, like how much cooler would the new Scream movie be going in if you knew none of that?
Right.
Or you just read, because I remember the first time I read about Scream was in Fango, and it was before it had remotely become a thing. Craven's off of Vampire in Brooklyn, so I think they weren't even giving him the press that he would deserve for what Scream became. Because it was like one page. It wasn't even like a spread yet about Scream, because Scream hadn't become Scream. And so all I heard is, oh, he's making this movie, it's slasher, kind of aware of itself, blah, blah, blah. And that's all I knew. And I'm like, all right, cool. I love Craven. I'll go see this. And then, whereas whereas now, I'm about to do everything. Like I don't want to give anything away because I knew nothing about it. I think I watched the trailer one time, but I'm going to go see Weapons tomorrow.
Okay.
And I know if I don't see it as soon as friggin' possible, I'm sure whatever's in it that could be spoiled, some jackwagon's going to put it on a thumbnail, right, and spoil it. And I hate that. Maybe it's a personal thing. I just hate that. So I miss that because like,
I think it's a generational thing.
You think so? Yeah, it makes sense.
Probably Gen Z and the millennials don't care.
Yeah.
Because they
I
never
don't even
had
do
that.
they care as much about behind the scenes stuff as we did. Even like my kids do. My kids do like. Well, I guess it just depends if they're movie fans. That's the other thing, right? Maybe they'd be more interested in like behind the scenes of how a game was made. Although I don't know how interesting that would be, other than the writers' room or the maybe where they're planning the stuff out. Yeah, I don't know, man.
No, I listened to a podcast that had said that the DVD behind the scenes features weren't as interesting or as necessary anymore because we already knew all that stuff going in. Like we know how movies are made now. Like
Yeah. Well, I'll agree to disagree.
and anything like we need to know about the actors we can find in interviews and on Twitter and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
So.
which that's good for you. I intentionally actually will still buy like a lot of the SOV movies I own, that are put out by Visual Vengeance or Terror Vision or any of the other ones. I will like see the ones that are loaded with like the filmmakers talking about it. Three commentaries. Jared Bookwalter does 3 commentaries. I'm buying it, And again, it's probably my age, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for being an archivist and collecting history and
Yes,
keeping
thank you.
those Monsters Attack magazines in near mint condition, so that future generations may see what they're missing with Monsters Attack magazine.
Yeah, I said thank you for having me over for the sleepover and sharing your grandma's Marlboro Reds that you stole with me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, just don't fall asleep first.
I won't.
You never know what might happen.
Mom and Pop's Video Show.